Hockey Nation fans, welcome back to the Hockey Nation live show with Coach Frenchy directly and Boot and Michael Devellano from West Coast, California, 8 a.m. West Coast time. How you
How you
doing,
doing,
Michael?
Pierre?
How was your
Great.
weekend?
Busy, busy. Lots of hockey going on though.
Now is the biggest. If you are like a normal year, we are right now at the third week of June, where usually is the NHL draft, and they are the only times during the year where usually everybody's there, the management, the coaches, the owners, and I can go all the way like that. And
Yep. Lots of
obviously,
family.
all the families and players around scout and it's amazing when you go at those draft session. It's amazing to see all the kind of people. Unfortunately, with the COVID and everything's going on, and we are right now going to be virtual for a couple of months, and the league is a big week for the NHL. Honestly, with the draft 2020 start tomorrow night, following Wednesday night with a round number 2 to 7, and then 48 hours. It's open up UFA for the NHL. So it's a big week. I'll be honest with you, the manager did not sleep a lot for the next couple of days now, with all the problem we know already. One thing is really unique. There's the salary cap stay at 81.5, and with a salary space and get cap friendly and the RFA and the UFA, it's a really demanding for the manager to manage very well their salary. And talking about this, that's the one reason, and we're going to jump right away with that one. Before we come live, you mentioned the trade of Los Angeles King and the Chicago Blackhawks,
Yeah.
where Chicago sent Oli Mata to Los Angeles King, and in return they get only young players, 23 years old now, Brad Morrison. Playing the East Coast Hockey League last season for Fort Wayne Comets. One He was the 113 overall pick by the Rangers in 2015. But the biggest is not about Morrison. It's really about Oli Mata.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah, he's been, I mean, he came into the league with a lot of promise because he made the league at a really young age and he had 29 points as a rookie and he came from that London Knights team. I think they won the OHL championship that year. Had like some good players like Bo Horvat and Max Domi on it. I don't know if he's fully reached his potential of what we anticipated, but he is a very good NHL defenseman. He's a top four in my opinion. Um, I think he's gonna help LA. Like they have a big gap between Drew Doughty and everybody else at the moment. Tobias Bjornfot should be on the team this year. He's young though. I mean, he's really young. He's not big. So getting a guy like Mata helps them. They probably got lots of cap space. They're going to be young and they got a lot of talent up front, but their D is where they're going to have, they got some guys that emerged last year, like Matt Roy played real well for them. I thought Walker played well. Um,
Matt
there's opportunity in LA for D.
Matter was the first round pick from the Pittsburgh Penguins
Pittsburgh.
in
Yeah.
2012, 22 overall. He got traded last year. Prior, a year ago, he was traded to Chicago. Honestly, now here's one thing we didn't mention. I want to mention this on the salary of Mata. Chicago spend only will pay only 750,000, and the rest of 3.3 million will be paid by Los Angeles. So what happening for Chicago? They open up a space cap friendly, exactly for what's coming from them the next couple, because they are really tied up right now, and that would pay maybe the money for Crawford and the RFA. So that would give that. That's a reason why.
Probably. They still have to sign Kubelik and they still got to sign Strom.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're looking at. They're paying a lot of money right now to Kane and Taves. So
Yeah.
there's 21 million between two guys. They're paying a lot to Calvin DeHaan, who's had a history of injury problems.
Yeah, start with
Connor Murphy's getting on too much money, so they got to move stuff around and they still have spots to fill. So you make some good points.
and at the
Uh,
flip side, I think Mata picked the spot of Alec Martinez, kept trade to Vegas at the trade deadline. So that's really what I think it was a great move at short term for Los Angeles and also for Chicago. Open up maybe because Chicago have a problem with Keith and Seabrook. Um,
that's what I was gonna say, and Shaw really too, right?
I mean, so it's a lot of money spent over there to for two defensemen over 30.
Oh, on D specifically for sure. Yeah, they got some stuff they got to work out.
Yep. So that was serious. That's the reason why the trade right there was a big one.
Save
Talking
some
about
money.
trade, let's move on with Josh Brown is a minor trade, but again, Florida Panthers trade Josh Brown to Ottawa, and then again a 4 round pick 2020. So Florida Panthers get a 4 round pick from Ottawa. Ottawa still have over 11 or 13 draft pick this year. So then Josh Brown is really a 5 and 6 defenseman. Play a couple of
Yep.
times for I saw him in the Florida, but still I don't think so. It's like potentially he's not going to be like a great like top four. This is all of question, but they, by the way, 20 minutes ago, they just signed him. They just offer him. He signed a contract 2 years, 2.4 millions, $1.2 million. Just confirmed like before we go in
That's
here.
Ottawa did.
Yeah. So they at that moment, I think they expect more. What people thinking, but they satisfied with D because they need to sign a couple of players, and that's
Yeah, they got big problems on D at the moment, I think. Not problems, but there's opportunity there. I mean, they can fill it, obviously. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the draft, because they got a fifth overall pick. But
and talking about signature, and then you can go with your impression. Uh, Today, you just mentioned this earlier. Again, 1 hour ago, I was watching TSN. Jason Spezza from Toronto Maple Leaf signed a 1 year deal contract, 700K. Almost like what's the almost is the minimum? Is it 700 the minimum?
pretty much, yeah. Like so, I thought he played pretty well last year for them in the limited role. I don't like him as a top six anymore, but if you watch him, his skills are still there. The things that
37
drive
years
you,
old. Talking about last year, he still had 9 goals, six assists,
yeah,
three
he's
assists,
a
and five
good,
points.
he's actually like a very talented player still. Like you watch him, and there's nothing wrong with him. I think he will do better in a situation. He's older now. He's from Toronto. His family's all there in Mississauga area, and he's um, he's what he is. I mean, he's a big guy that is veteran experience. He wants to win and wants to play in Toronto, and he doesn't care about money right now. I mean,
It's not
he
about the money for him. It's
no, he
about
doesn't
family.
care. I don't know if he would have much demand. Like, his skill is there, but I think he's changed his game a little bit, but he still makes the same mistakes that he made when he
But
was
again,
young.
like at 38 years old, he's 37. He's going to be at 38. Not
Yeah,
many team can offer a four-line center or maybe a third line
yeah.
at that age. They will go with
He's
younger.
very capable of doing that. Like he played him for the Mississauga at the time they were called the Ice Dogs. He played for Brampton. His family's all in that area. Like he all these guys, like, there could be a real renaissance of a homecoming this year. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how many more guys like pile on with Tavares and
Well, my point to you, it was more about the reason why they get him is because the salary cap is a problem.
well, yeah, everybody knows that. They're
Cannot
screwed.
afford to get a $2-3 million. So to
Of
come
course, everybody knows
guy
that.
who's
Yeah.
25 years old and we had more experience with him, bring leadership. He's been there before, you know what I mean? So I think for Toronto, that's the reason why he's still there. And I think it'll be good. Talking about signature, let's move on. Yesterday, Sekera from Dallas Star signed a $3 million contract for 2 years at $1.5 million. It still is another one, 37 years old. Um, he's defense 5 and 6. We saw him all playoff running with the Dallas Star. He understands his role at 15-minute average per game. He brings stability behind those four big
Yeah,
guys.
I like the signing. He's a good defenseman still. I mean, he was noted as being a little bit more offensive when he was younger, and he was an important signing in Edmonton, but injuries really derailed that. He's a very capable defenseman. I mean, I don't
Yep,
think
I
he
agree
even
with
could
you.
still produce offensive if you really wanted him.
Yep. And talking about signature, let's move on with more and more. It was a big day Saturday. Honestly, it was three goalies back to back to back, and
That blew my mind.
let's
Yeah.
start with those. Let's start with the last one, like with Philadelphia Flyers. Brand Elliott signed a 1 year deal only, 1.5 millions at 35 years old. I think we know already what Elliott is. He played many years for the St. Louis Blues. Uh, Covered very well, backup number two. Anderson his role. He did very well behind, the future of the Flyers is really with Carter Hart, and to get a stability of this backup at $1.5 million with salary cap everything. 35 years old, experience in NHL. I think is really good deal for Flyers, and then I think Elliott looking more for security and have a good, he played well over there, and he
I gotta
knows.
be honest, I was surprised. Like I think that's a very team friendly deal. He's going to get 25, 30 games. He gets along really well with Carter. Maybe it's that he got a second year, but I think very easily he could have gone to free agency and picked up 2, 3 million, like a year. So I think he's making but now on the flip side, they were very loyal to him because he was hurt and they stuck with him. And I don't know if a lot of people believed in him, but he showed last year he's still a really good goalie.
I would say yes, maybe on the UFA like a normal year, like a
Maybe
normal. But the problem is this
it's a
year,
problem.
many
Yeah,
goalies on the market.
there are, but he
So
was one of the better ones. So
again, to get $2-3 million at maybe Florida say, you know what, we're going to keep you until here year after year and see what happens next year. So they have a maybe an agreement, or they have a good lot of respect between them, maybe the goalie and the Flyers. They say, look, and then that's what you say, you know what, for $500 moving, go somewhere and between that.
for sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
at 35 years old, sometimes we're looking more for security on that. So I think it's good. Moving on now, to the next one. I think now you're going to open the door. I'm sure you're going to talk to us about what you think about that one. Travis Jarry from Pittsburgh Penn signed a contract of 3 years at $10.5 million deal at 3.5 million per year. He's only 25 years old. Um, Jerry have a great year last year. Is 20, 12, and 1, 2.43, .92, .1, three shutout for them in 36 game. I think maybe it's the future. He's 25 years old. He may be old, but
Yeah,
goalies, it's rare you to get
I
at
can play.
20, 21. It take a little bit, at least you're really a star. It took
Sure.
a little bit longer, 22, 23 before, and he was back up before. He started when Fleury was there, if I can recall it, and then after that, he got, slowly pick up. Then Murray was in front of him, and then since that, remember, he's a second round pick, 44 overall.
Well, I mean, we saw him like he 2 years ago was the best goalie in their training camp, and they sent him back to the AHL, and they went with Casey DeSmith. So that was, a reflection on they already had a young goalie that had won a Stanley Cup. Casey DeSmith's very capable, and so he really stayed in the AHL and probably one more year than he really had to. Again, he came to training camp and really was the best goalie again. He played for the Edmonton Oil Kings in the WHL. I've been watching him, kind of for a while, and he was a stud in our league. Like he was such a great goalie, and he was great in the AHL. Like no matter where this guy's gone, he's been a legit number one. He's really talented. He's got good size. He's ready to be a number one. I think the deal again is pretty team friendly. It's also not crazy because I think it's the same contract Matt Murray signed prior.
It's a bridge.
Yeah, it's definitely a bridge deal. Now, his bridge is going to be 25, it's going to be 25, 26, 27. So when he's 28, he'll still be a fairly young goalie. And then, if he's still at this top of the game, it's a little risky for him. I thought he would probably do 2 years at 3.5, but I guess, we don't know what's happening out there. It's a chance to kind of finish the twilight years, I would say, of, Malkin and Crosby. Like in 3 years, those guys could be done.
Yeah. So, that opened the door now to possibility to trade. Oh, by the way, update right now, the San Jose Sharks and Minnesota Wild is going to have a trade the next 30 minutes. Ryan Donato is going to go to San Jose. And
Yeah.
Minnesota get the third round pick, 2021 draft pick. So,
Whoops, sorry. I didn't mean to send that to you.
so it's going to be the next happening the next 30 minutes. It's not officially by the NHL, but Pierre LeBrun just announced it live right now. So, it's good to be live sometimes on here and then get,
Yeah, no kidding.
you know what I mean?
So, Ryan Donato's, how do I put it? He came over in a big deal, the Charlie Coyle deal. So now they've pretty much blown out most of the pieces of that deal, I think, right?
But again, it's all about the expectation around Ronaldo at the beginning when he came with Boston Bruins. After he was from BU, right, or Harvard,
Yeah, and his dad played in the NHL. He's a lot like his dad. He's small and talented.
and he was the winner of the
Inconsistent.
Baker. No,
Did he win the Hobie Baker? He might have.
I think he was a winner. I think he was.
He was definitely a nominee for his team, right? Because he played at Harvard.
Yeah,
He didn't play at Boston. He played at Harvard.
there you go. I knew it was like
Yeah.
this. Or
So he's a smart guy. He had 14 goals last year in 62 games. I don't think that he's, they kind of projected him as a second line center. He's definitely not, in my opinion. Um, I don't know if he's a gritty guy. So we're gonna see. He'll go to San Jose if what's his salary at? I don't even know, but I'm sure that's part of it. They need a little bit of help in San Jose, so maybe in a supporting role he's okay. He definitely didn't do much in Minnesota for me.
on the flip side, we can see Bill Guerin try to transform completely
Yeah.
the Minnesota Wild.
Yep.
Koivu is not back. Detroit Eric Stahl. Now it's Tornado. The two goalies not going to go back over there. They are part. They just signed Jack. Is it Spurgeon? They just signed recently.
Well, last year, I
They
think it's
signed
been a
someone
year.
a couple of weeks ago.
Spurgeon, no, he's had a long-term contract for a while. He signed a 6 million, 7 million, 7-year deal or something. It was
Who is just
insane.
signed? Not Tomba.
No, Spurgeon.
So Tomba is on the market to get trade at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
My
Which
point
is, I
is,
would rather have Dumba. I don't know about you, but
yeah. So my point to you is like Bill Guerin tried to transform that team to go on that his
yeah,
direction, what he
for
thinks
sure.
is the best for this organization.
I guess that trade kicks in, but I thought Fenton signed him. So his contract is ridiculous, by the way. He's going to get $9 million this year for Jared Spurgeon.
Yeah,
His cap hit is 7.5.
I know. So finally is that part with we apologize. We shift for Jerry to the trade for Minnesota, but I want to thinking about now with that contract, Travis Jerry. I think you open up the trade now to Matt Murray. Is going to be one. He's going to be out of Pittsburgh. If it was you, what it would be your prediction about what do you feel like Matt Murray is going to go?
I think Carolina's probably in the mix. I could definitely see that they have pieces that would help. Um, yeah, you could see where they give up a guy like Netcash. You never know. It'll be really interesting to see because Matt had a few little bumps in the road the last year, and I think he's not maybe perceived as the star that he was, but he's still a number one goalie in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. I think Winnipeg's definitely an option.
No,
You don't think Winnipeg? Oh, not Winnipeg.
Edmonton,
Yeah,
not
Edmonton.
Jerry.
I think Winnipeg's got Hellebuck, but Edmonton needs a goalie. And they've got a lot of good young D. So they could move an Evan Bouchard and get Matt Murray. I could see something like that. You never know with Toronto if they dump Anderson to Carolina and then flip and grab Matt Murray. That is always a possibility. I actually thought that would have made sense as part of the Kapanen deal. So maybe I've seen, you've seen this too in the past where there's like a part one and a part two to the deal. So I could see Toronto doing something.
I'm
What do
going
you
to be a
think?
long shot here. I believe he can be traded to St. Louis Blues.
I would not be surprised. That would make a lot of sense. I don't
I
think
think
that they're
Billington is
confident in
not going to
Binnington.
be what Billington
No,
used to be 2 years ago.
I agree.
And I think they
I,
need a
I agree.
better shaker goalies. And they know already Jake Allen is not a guy can cover like first goalies there. So
He's gone to Montreal too. So
so I think I don't know. So I think there will be a possibility for them to get there. So again, this is
that's
only flame on my mind. Matter of fact, I will say to you, the St. Louis Blues, I'm pretty sure they're looking for a UFA, maybe.
oh, for sure they are. Absolutely.
Yep,
Totally. Which
yep.
I don't, it's a little weird. Like, I guess they don't trust Allen and they didn't trust Bennington. So that's kind of, I don't think I thought Allen played pretty well for them, but
Join the playoff, yes. And then finally that one over there. A big contract this weekend. Big thing I think, and this is really amazing me. Robin Lehner from Vegas Golden Knights got a 25 million contract for 5 years at $5 million. He's 29 years old now. He's going to be until 34. Um, what you thought about this? What you thinking now from the after that signature for the situation with Marc-Andre Fleury, and what do you think Vegas is going to go now? I just want to remind you, Fleury still have 2 year contract at $7 million, maybe 7.5. I think it's $7 million. He's 35 years old, going to be 36 at November 28th. So, what your impression first from Robin, and then what's the move after that you believe you happening over there?
I have to think they're going to shop him. And then any deal would mean them retaining salary or going to somewhere like Detroit where they can eat a little bit of salary. I could see anything like that. I could see him going to Edmonton. Buffalo is a possibility for both him and actually Matt Murray. um, I definitely see him not being in Vegas the whole year, but you never know. Like he says he wants to stay, but that's pretty tough to have 12 million bucks between two goalies and seven's going to your back.
I'll be honest with you, he's not going to get there.
I don't.
He's not going to stay in Vegas. This is out right now. He's already out. McRaymond is not a guy play
Well,
around.
he's not going to screw around.
You know what I mean? Like you can see what he did with Gerald Gallant. You can
Oh
see what
yeah,
he was aggressive at the trade
he'll pull the
line,
trigger.
Greenlander, everything like that. So I believe he's going to shopping. And then you mentioned this, and that makes sense to me. And yes and no. The reason why I don't know if they will trade Fleury and the opponent uh, organization, the same division like Edmonton.
They might see it as a benefit, but yeah, you're right. I could see. I don't know if it depends on the GM. Some people don't care. Some people think, "Oh, I'm not going to screw myself." But I think it's like Lixon. You don't believe in the guy, then you don't believe in the guy. If you got something else, you move on. But it just depends on the
I really
GM,
believe
really.
they will try to trade him on the East Coast. Everything like
Maybe.
but again, I think
I
he
could
will.
see him also like. What are the Islanders doing with? They're going to have a gap with Grice, right?
That Islander cannot do any more
They can't do anything. They got
with
no cap
$3 million.
room.
They are Barzell to sign up.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
They have
So they got no cap room.
they
What
have
about and then New
Balak,
Jersey?
and Steven Joe Toes to sign up RFA also.
Yeah, so Islanders aren't happening.
And
What
then
about New Jersey? Are they
who?
New Jersey? Are they
Blackwood.
as their number one? Fleury's not going to go there as a number one, but
But nobody would give like it depends on the contract. I think a team with Buffalo you mentioned. I think Carolina should looking about that one over there.
I'm not even thinking about Ottawa. Like Ottawa probably needs a goalie.
But they need a lot of things over there. But
You could see like they've got a lot of cap room.
what I'm surprised about that, and it's a really at $5 million is cheap to get Leonard. After what he
That's
accomplished, what he
cheap.
did, I think he should be at least $6.5 million minimum. Um,
I think there's still perceived risk with him. with, whatever issues he had. I think there's also risk. The guy is 240 pounds.
Now the flip side about
The
that one
guy's
is
not
there.
small, Pierre. Like, how many goalies are 240 pounds?
On the flip side, they give him 5 years.
Yeah, a lot of term.
So maybe they could get like 6 million, maybe 3 or 4 years, and he was still only 20, 32, 33. Now they give him a currency. The guy had he been to a lot of problem personally. He still talk about this on Twitter this weekend. He's open up about his problem, mental illness, everything like
Yep,
that. But I think we have to give him credit. He deserved the money. He worked
absolutely.
since he moved from Chicago, Ottawa, Chicago, and then prior as Islanders, and just screw the way he did it. But I think he
So,
went around with Barry Trotz with Islanders,
yeah.
and that's why he became really the solid. He won the William Jennings Trophy with Thomas Grease in 1819. He was a UFA. Went to Chicago, signed one contract 1 year, $5 million. He got traded in February, and now he get it. So congrats to Robin. We mentioned a lot of time the player have a lot of problem. Never talk about this. He's open up about this. And by the way, he was with Buffalo between Ottawa and Islanders. So so he deserved it. Very good. I agree with you. I think Florida, but I believe Florida will be more on on the East Conference side. Uh,
Maybe I could see that, but it limits. They're gonna try to just move them. I mean, in the end,
they cannot have a two goalie at $12 million.
there's
Not
no
with the
way. I don't
salary
see
cap
that.
problem they have. They are all over.
I
And
don't see
then
it.
I don't think so. That would make sense to me about that one over there.
I agree with you.
So I think that would be, big thing about that. Talking about this, the QM opened up this weekend. It was a lot of game. It was pretty amazing to see that, what's going on in the QM, and it's great to see that. Talking about the QM, I want to bring now, pay attention what's going on for the draft the next tomorrow night. Do you have any? Well, I can move on with something like that for you if you don't mind. I can talk about. I can tell you about. I got this right now here. Hold on, I'm looking for that one over there. Couple of news left and right around the league. Taylor Hall tried to get maybe Arizona tried to shopping him to get a contract, a pick draft pick to get the rights.
To flip them, yeah.
Yeah,
And then someone can negotiate ahead of time.
yep. The rumor is also UEL from Arizona. He has only two teams he want to play.
Two.
Yes,
What was the one that I saw that made a lot of sense?
Boston Bruins
Really?
and Vancouver Canucks.
That was the one I thought made a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I think the Vancouver one makes a ton of sense. That's an up and coming team. Um, if they sign Markstrom, do they have a problem? Or could they still take that salary on?
they can necessarily. Now they try to shopping Vatanen,
Who's shopping Vatanen?
Vancouver. Vatanen, the
Oh,
young.
Virtanen. Oh, yeah, yeah. As opposed to Sammy Vatanen, who's a free
Yeah,
agent.
they
Yeah, Virtanen, I could totally see that. When I saw that deal, that made a lot of sense to me. He would be an amazing fit in Vancouver. Vancouver's looking scary. Like if they have him,
you talk about the teams getting better. I think you have a couple of things I would mention to you: Vancouver, um, Carolina, and then also Philadelphia Flyers get there. I think one team is going to jump a lot this year. It's New York Rangers.
oh, for sure. I mean,
Now,
that's
talking
like a
about the New
given,
York
I think.
Rangers, they're talking about me the possibility to send do not resign Strom over there because the team salary problem they have. So
What's Strom looking for?
they try to trade him or let go, whatever it is. Talking about this, and I forgot to mention Michael Grabner from
Yeah, I saw that. I was surprised at
on
that.
the waving list about that one. They're talking about rumor and all the, this will be all the rumor left and right. They talk about the fact like they have two direction. Tyler Johnson, he may be on the one try to be moved out, but the problem you have no trade. and I look like he's hard on that one over there. He does not want to go anywhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's not like, oh, I'm just trade me anywhere. So he still have a lot of content. Like he still have
That's
five
a
million
lot.
dollars for
5 years?
so 4 year remaining of the
4 times 5.
yeah.
Yeah. He's, I don't know. Like, why would Tyler Johnson want to stay other than, hey, I want to stay? Um, Sorry, I'm getting like sunlight here. This is freaking crazy. um, they're not going to play that guy at center. He's not a great winger. I mean, if you're Tyler Johnson, you care about your career. I guess he's thinking maybe they have a chance to repeat, which they legitimately do. I mean,
But I don't think so. I think he may be said to Breeze, bro, hey, I'm going to give you a list and do your best to trade me at those teams. And not to send anywhere where he doesn't want to go. So he tried.
well, that's different than what you said though, which is he's hard no.
But the point is like the rumor from Pierre LeBrun is reading like they have talked to Tyler Johnson to work a potential move
Yeah.
together, and
And he
Johnson
says
said
no.
he said no.
That's what I'm saying. So that's not, here's my list. He's saying absolutely no.
Not to go nowhere, anywhere until I figure out what is the best for my situation and for my family, everything like that.
Whatever.
Now Montreal tried Here's what I'm thinking. Montreal is going to push to get Alex Killorn, and Montreal is willing to trade the number 15 round pick for add a top six winger somewhere somehow, or they maybe push to get a top six on the UFA trade market Friday. But I predict you Montreal will be very active about their situation. First of all, I think this year you're going to have a ton of trade at the draft this year compared to any other years. First of all, New Jersey tried maybe trade their 18, 20, keep numbers. I think they are number 7. They tried to trade the number 18, 20. Ottawa tried maybe trade their last one round pick. I think it's what they are 29, 30,
Yeah, they got a bunch of picks.
and
Why are they trying to trade them?
they tried to trade to get a better players, a younger players. New Jersey would like to get a 26 years old younger players to trade the one of the two pick, or maybe a solid player trade both trade over there. I think I think this draft pick have a very solid top 12, top 15. Then after that, it's get a little bit, but it's going to have a lot of surprise. The list we did.
Even beyond that, there's some good players that people are not thinking. But I mean, it's a deep draft, I feel. I don't know if there's like, I don't know. There's a lot of good players. Like if you could get like, you get Gunler at 15 to 20, you get like Holloway at 15 to 20. Like those are guys that could play in the NHL very realistically top six. It just one, it's going to take a little time, but I think a lot of the players in this draft are like that. You probably realize that too. Like, I could see even the top 10, not many of them will play in the NHL right away, I don't think. Lafreniere is an obvious. I'm not even sure about Byfield. Stutzley should be able to.
I follow a lot everybody about the draft mock, and sometimes it's complicated. Someone put Tim Suffel like number 7 or 8.
Well, I could see that 2 years
One
ago.
someone at Marco Rossi number 3.
So, man, it really depends who you talk to. I'm suspicious of Rossi because he's older, he's small, and what he did in the OHL is no joke. And he's got guts in the OHL. So those are good things. If you project him to be Brad Marchand, then cool. Then that's a top 3 guy, maybe, right? I'm not sure he can play center in the NHL. So it really depends on who you are. If you're looking at this guy and saying, hey, we'll move him to wing and he's going to be Brad Marchand, yeah, I could see that. But Byfield, here's the problem with Byfield is everyone sees the size and the speed and the skill, but he definitely has problems in tight areas. Now, he's also the youngest kid in the draft. So that is a factor, like he's I don't know. I have a really hard time seeing him drop out of the top three. And Stutzley, for sure, in my opinion, is like a Peter Forsberg type player. Like if you would you draft Peter Forsberg seventh or eighth?
Who?
No, Peter Forsberg, not Philip Forsberg, Peter Forsberg, right? Like if you see, you're like go back in time to when Peter Forsberg was drafted, and he was part of the Eric Lindros trade, but he was drafted seventh or eighth, right, and then traded as by Quebec. He's the same type of player. Like, what's the difference between Stutzley and Forsberg?
Yeah, no, of course. I think at some
Like,
point,
that's a unique player. Like, he's gritty. His motor is constant. He's got high skill. That guy ain't going seventh. He's gonna go top two, maybe third worst.
one thing you have to remember, like this year, the USA team, last year, USA hockey team, the NTS, what he called it, the SUS.
National Development Program.
This year, they're not going to get a lot of players
No,
about that one over there.
no. Jake Sanderson will probably be the top guy. Last year was a unique year. Um, there was a lot of, I mean, that might have been the most stacked U.S. development program team ever. Jack Hughes came from Toronto,
Yeah.
right? He played for the Marlies all growing up, and it's like, oh, we developed this guy. No, you didn't.
I'm going to give you, I'm just reading, I read, I'm really into athletics website, a lot of people, hockey, and everything like that. And I just go to a little bit play on the mock draft, not about selection, but they did like an article about like that one over there, like the class superlative players most likely to fall relative to my board. Which players do you feel they're going to go fall? You believe? Like you expect high, and then going to be like like Cole Caulfield last season, drop a lot.
I didn't think Cole Caulfield would go high last year. I think the things in his, I think he fell right where everyone thought he was going to. Um, this one, there's definitely guys that you might be surprised at. Like Lucas Raymond was originally seen as a top three player. He could go as low as 8 or 10, but it's not a knock against him. There's just a lot of similar guys, right?
Yeah,
And you watch, people are watching and looking for these little slight of differences, and it's going to come down to personal choice in some of these cases. Like anywhere from fourth to almost 11th or 12th. You see guys like Jack Quinn. Jack Quinn could jump way up. Like
you
if
know
you,
what? I agree with you about this. This is a really good statement. If you're hockey fans, nation fans listening, this is really very important. I cannot be more agree with that part there. I think some players going to jump higher at what you
and
we
then you bump guys, right? Like,
about that one over there. So, the play on that one, they will set Jan Mizak and Noel Gunler.
I like Jan Mizak. Noel Gunler is like he's not like the difference between Gunler and Raymond and Holtz is very minimal. It's his motor. It's whether you think he's motivated because he takes a lot of time off, but there's no difference in their skill, and he's a
So
big
they
enough
expect
player.
them to fall apart, like not fall apart, fall from their position right now. People thinking maybe 20 to 25. They expect maybe out of the first round.
Oh, wow, really?
Yep. The most likely to rise relative to my board, what do you think it will be?
I think Jack Quinn. I think the goalie's going to go higher than people are saying. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Carolina's going to take him." I'm like, there's some guys that need goalies that are stars ahead of that. So I would not be surprised to see him go to like Nashville. I would, because they've got two goalies, but they're getting up there. I think that they're ready. They're borderline ready to move on from Rene. And by the time Askarov's ready, like you got a stud, right? Like I could see Minnesota grabbing him. Like why would Minnesota not grab this guy where he is? Like how the other players that are there may not be impactful to their lineup. So it really just depends. Like that's I could see that him going up.
I will go with Jake Sanderson.
Well, for sure, Jake Sanderson is on a lot of people's radars. When you really compare him and you watch him closely, at first I didn't like him so much, but then I realized like what he does without the puck is what you love.
Yep.
Yes, he's good offensively and he carries the puck well and he's smooth, but man, he's old school in the defensive zone.
And the runner up on that categories is Riley or Ridley Gregg. Um, that
Maybe.
that's the one he did.
I think Seth Jarvis probably has potential to move up before
It's a great
Ridley.
pick over there. I think
Yeah.
that one over there is a great pick. I believe it's possible Lapierre, not Xavier Lapierre.
Oh, Lapierre, yeah.
Yeah, that would be another one I'm watching about that one over there. Now, the most likely to be the slap on the draft pick. What do you think?
Oh, it's Henricks. Sorry, Henricks Lapierre.
Yeah, exactly. The most likely to be the slap on of the draft you believe you will be.
Like
Like,
the
yeah,
sleeper pick.
yeah.
Um, you know, I keep hearing different things about Rossi. Sometimes I hear I don't hear him dropping out of the top five very often, but he could sneak up on the top three to Ottawa. I think Ottawa's seen him a lot, and you never know. Like they could grab him there, and then they've got another pick at five. So it's almost like if they think Detroit's going to take him and they love him, and they've watched him a ton because he played for the Ottawa 67s, he could move up. I really think though that Jack Quinn's going to jump up in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm going to be with Finland kid Veti Metinen. Um, he's a play under the 20 years old program over there. Nobody talk about him a lot on that one over there. He's at 17 years old. He was already play hard. He's a 2001 birthday, 61 points in 48 game over there. It's a one nobody talk a lot about him. I don't say he's going to be a top 5, 10, but I think it's
Yeah.
someone going to recruit to grab him.
The
Uh,
guy I don't understand because I is Caden Gooley to me. Like I understand Schneider being ahead of him, but if he's a 6'3" skating defenseman. I don't know who is affecting. I don't know why he's rated so low. Like I keep hearing he's dropping, but to me, he's a very good defenseman. The other guy I'm curious about is William Wallander, the Swedish kid.
yep.
If you've ever watched him play, like he's a 6'4" smooth skating defenseman, and he's like, who would not want that?
Who do you believe the smartest player in the draft?
Oh, Perfetti's the smartest player.
You got it, my friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's the
We
runner up?
his hockey sense is like,
Who's
you
the
know,
runner up?
for me,
Yeah, it's easy one. I have to go with Lafreniere.
really,
Yeah, okay, smartest kid. He's like he see the vision and everything like that. I think is the next one. The biggest wild card in this draft. What it will be, you believe?
anything. Okay. My wife. Sorry, I got cut off. um,
The wild card I mentioned earlier. I thought it was a step on, but I think the wild card for me we Hendrix Lapierre.
maybe.
And then the runner up, I go with the Justin Baron, whatever they call it. I think he's the one really people don't talk a lot about him. I think he maybe jump a couple rank
I
about.
think it's gonna be interesting to see where Brendan Brisson goes.
Who is the fattest skater?
Oh, the fastest?
Yep,
Hmm.
I will give you the one they said is Jean-Luc Foudy, Foudy.
Is that Liam's brother?
Yeah, and then the runner up is really you. He's right now on the radar. Top three is Tim.
I was gonna say Stutzley,
Yep, he is.
but you know what? Foodie can really fly.
Yep.
His brother, like his brother can really fly.
Who's the best backward skater?
Oh, geez. That's a good question.
Defenseman for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could say Drysdale.
Yep, you got it. You got it.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't.
they are not like the question I'm asking you is is someone asked to someone as a is an expert on draft, and that's what I'm telling you that part over there.
Yeah, I think Drysdale probably. I don't know. I just have this really weird thing with him playing defense. I don't love him in his own zone.
Who has the best shot in the draft?
Oh, uh, I would say Holtz maybe.
You got it.
Yeah. He
Who
can.
has the best hands? This is a surprise. It's like
Ooh, wow. I don't know. To me, I like Stützle. I think Stützle's got amazing hands. You've
so. I would give you the damn like we never talk about him. Jeremy Poirier as the best the best hand, but
Oh,
the
really?
running up really close to him is Lucas Raymond.
Well, that was the other guy I was going to mention because he's got great hands. But the weird thing about him is he turns the puck over a lot.
Yep.
So I don't know why that is, but to me, Stützle doesn't turn over the puck, so I would give him the edge. And he's like he can stick handle a phone booth, man. Like he plays against men and he can come out of the corners of the puck. Some of that's his edge work, but man, his puck handling is awesome.
Who do you believe have the most athletic on the draft?
Most athletic.
Yep.
I mean, there's a case to be made for Quinton Byfield. There's a case to be made for
You mentioned him earlier, but I think he's more like around 20.
yeah, I don't know if you I don't know. Would you think I'm not sure. I don't know if they think Caden, but
Yeah, Gaden,
Goalie.
yeah,
Cool.
Gooley,
Yeah.
and
Those are kind of the two names that popped in my head before, but
yeah,
I
and
don't know if there's, I'm trying to think
the
if there's
runner
anybody else.
up is Dalen Olowe.
Well, so yeah, I was kind of like hovering over him, but I think Caden's probably more athletic.
Who has the best name in the draft?
Ooh, the best name in the draft?
Yeah, like
Well, the one I'm having the most trouble with is Maverick Bork.
the one guy, one kid, his name is Evan, and his last name is Evan.
Evan?
Yeah,
Oh my God, why? That's the worst name in the draft.
and the runner up is Uzi Westblatt.
Oh, I don't even know who that is.
And then the easier to cheer for is Zeddy Wisdom, and the runner-up is Marco Rossi.
Really? Why Marco Rossi?
You know what I mean? It's more like an Italian soccer
Yeah,
player.
true. That's true. Marco Rossi. What is he, Austrian? Yeah.
So it was a little bit the play at that one over there for the draft. Everything.
Oh, what's the other guy? Elga Granz.
Yeah.
It's like Helga Granz.
So that's what we have right now on the selection for the draft. I think they will bring a lot. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of team are going to have. By the way, they have Jimenez. I don't know if you know Jimenez. Play for Harvard College. Is
Yeah.
Hispanic players.
I've seen him play. Where did I see him? Did I see him in the USHL? He's a New York kid, right? Yeah, he played for.
Only 5'9", 180. Yeah, I just
Is this
mentioned him. He played on the
Christian?
USHL for Sioux City.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I
he's a
don't
little
mind
bit
it.
like, 180 round pick, whatever it is. But my
Yeah.
point to you is it would be great
So,
to have Hispanic players to be a part of that.
so we have 10 minutes. So the guys I'm going to talk about, there's four players. Okay,
Yep.
we're going to go later, but they're all Everett Silvertips. So we are. I think last draft we had three players drafted. This year we could have as high as four. So the one kid that's an over like he's he's a 2001. Is he a 2000? Yeah, he's a 2001. Is Gage Gonsalves. I can never pronounce your name, Gage. I'm sorry. Gage was in training camp for 2 years in a row on my team that I coached in the rookie camp or the training camp, early camp where we had the young guys in with the older guys. So everybody's in. So in that tournament, the first year, I wasn't amazed with Gage. He came in with a big reputation. This year, Gage went from 1 goal last year to 33 goals and 38 assists this year. He really matured as a person and a player. I think he's probably a third round pick, is probably where I'm guessing he'll go. We also have the defenseman, which is the kid that we acquired in a trade, the Finnish defenseman, which is Kasper. How would I say your last name, Kasper? Because I always screw this up. Pudio, Kasper Pudio, with two U's.
For me.
And Kasper, I think, will probably be like a third to fifth round pick. We also have Michael Goot. Michael's skating's not amazing, but he's a very smart player. I could see him going in the later rounds. And we have one other guy, which would be Jackson Berezowski. And Jackson, I think he had 18 goals for us this year. He's kind of like a stocky scoring winger. He's a 2002, and I could see him kind of in the 5th to 7th rounds. So good luck to the Silver Tips in the next couple of days, because we'll be there watching and pulling for you.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see that. To see also like how many players, when they go to the draft like that, they will expect how many players for the countries, how many players on the
Yeah.
junior league. Then like they go all the way to get French Canadian players and the QM versus OHL versus WHL versus USHL. Then you go all the way to the Europe players, everything like that. So it'll be very interesting. I believe that draft around like 2020 class will be one of maybe the top 10 of on the 2000 on the 21st century until today, like until the next maybe 2025. I think there are a lot of potential players going to play in NHL one day versus other years. Um,
Yeah, I think you're hitting it from the point, like for me, I would agree from the point of view that a lot of these players will play in the NHL. They're going
yep,
to have a high ratio.
yep.
There's a, if you look, it's really tough to pick almost once you get past even top three. There's some case, but I'd be very surprised if the top three changes. And then you go kind of 4 through almost 15, 16. You go, hey, is a Dawson Mercer going to play? He might drop to 17th to 20th. Like, is Jan Missick going to play? I got to think he's going to play somewhere. So there's a lot there. I like Caden Gooley. I think he'll probably play, and he might go real late. So yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of players in this draft. I think the guy against sleepers, the William Wallander guy, like he might go late, and he'll still play in the NHL. I think.
I agree
So
with
yeah,
you.
it's an interesting draft. I
Yeah,
think the question will be, what's the top end of guys like Perfetti, Raymond, Drysdale, Sanderson, Holtz? Like, what can these guys achieve? Like, will they be just will they struggle to get top 6? Will they be impact players? And that's where I think I'm having a little bit of trouble. I don't know what you think. Like,
I agree with you. You know what I mean? Like you can go with the Russian kid Arianov, and Arianov is maybe like 2023 right now on many plays. You know what I mean? Like nobody put Seth Jarvis before 12, and I
I
think
know, and
Jarvis.
yet he could jump up,
You
right?
know what I
Like,
mean? You mentioned to us last week. I remember you really interested by Anton Lundell. That's another one over there. I said to you, Dawson, I'm really sold on Dawson
I like
Mercer.
Dawson. Yeah. I think
I
Lundell
believe.
is interesting because like the guy's played pro already. He could be Bergeron.
So, by the way, check this part. Um, Askarov play already in KHL.
Wow, that's why I think he's already a stud. Like he's
Who
a
is the goalie of the week?
listen, I don't understand why I would take that guy top 5.
I believe me, Detroit Red Wing pick Yaroslav Askarov.
I'm not convinced they will, but if they did, it would not be a bad pick.
I
I
believe right now, if they don't get Tim Sussler and or
Beasley,
Beefield, right? I believe Askarov will have a longer career compared to Raymond, compared to Ruzi, and compared to other players there. Perfectly everything like that. I believe Detroit they could have a players for 15 years,
for sure.
and Shiker number one goalie is not Carey Price. but it's a type of goalie can be close. It's another close to Carter Hart.
Yeah, and the Carter went in the second round. Like,
Yeah,
so what am I thinking here? If you had to do it over and you look at that draft, you go Carter Hart's a top 5 pick.
yeah.
Like he's 22 and he's probably the top 6 goalies in the NHL right now.
I
So
believe you should take
okay,
him.
Can Askarov be Samsonov? Can he be good as good? Those my comparisons, right? It's like they project him ahead of Samsonov at the same age. Okay, I'm down. You project him ahead of Vasilevsky at the same age. You pick that guy at fourth.
I believe they would not have no mistake to get
I
Askarov.
agree. I totally
That's my
agree.
point here. Versus, you know, I mean, you can talk about Sanderson or Tristan.
Yeah. No, they could all be NHL players, but I really don't know. Like some people say Lucas Raymond could be Mitch Marner. I'm not convinced of that. If you project Lucas Raymond to be Mitch Marner, you take him. Right? But if you say this guy's going to struggle for these reasons and he's going to take time, I mean, Lucas Raymond's an awesome talent. So you got to say, okay, well, where was Mitch Marner the same age? Mitch Marner took an extra year. Lucas Raymond's a much better forechecker. He's as highly skilled. Take him, right? So it's going to boil down. But I love Askarov. I think, man, I wish Detroit had 2 first-round picks. I wish they were like Ottawa.
You can have that, or yeah, honestly. Now,
Maybe
the
they can make a
biggest
trade.
thing to talk about is maybe because Eiserman, you may be looking for Cole Perfetti. So I think he can have. I think he likes a lot Perfetti, but again, Steve Eiserman have an
So
history of
hard for
picking
me
up
because
guys.
I look at like Perfetti is very, very smart. I don't love his speed and skating. Does Cole Perfetti have separation speed? I don't think so. I think so you got to think like, is he going to be one of these smart guys that excels or does he get by on his smarts? And I don't know the answer to that. Um,
What's the Detroit newspaper? The Detroit club.
Free press?
Yeah, so this says Steve Eiserman tests him, Cole Perfetti, and his interview, and the kid passed the test. He is smart,
Yeah,
terrific offensive talent, and a great leader. So,
totally.
yeah, so
None of that's untrue. I think that boils down to can you fix his skating, in my opinion, because that's the only thing that will hold him back, in my opinion. He's super smart. His intelligence is off the charts on the ice, and he's got good skills. But he's not big. So I think to me, he's not going to be a guy that if you play in tight,
I
he
will give
needs.
you an example, and I'm thinking he is like this guy. But remember, like Nick Suzuki? Nick Suzuki got drafted by Vegas 13, and on his skating rating, it was average. Smart player, great vision,
Maybe.
great hands, everything like that. But look his skating now, how he's improved.
That's why I say if you project one thing Detroit does really well is skills. So
And development, I think they
absolutely
have
they
maybe
develop
one of the
their
top
guys very well.
five development system
The
and any
best.
other team in NHL.
I agree. Like you look at if you watch the Travers tournament and all they do a lot of live video of the young guys. Like they get them bigger, they get them stronger, and they improve their skills and their skating. They're working out with Power Edge Pro now, so they're innovative, right? Like they're Yuri Fisher does an amazing job. The rest of that group does an amazing job.
Yeah, I agree with you about that one. So it'll be very interesting.
I think
We're going
so.
to be back tomorrow morning, Eastern time. We're going to be me at least. I'm going to be online for sure for the draft.
Oh yeah.
First one pick
What time is it? 6?
seven, maybe six. Yeah, maybe six. But we'll be online for sure for the first round pick. Not the next day all the way, but the first round night we're going to be out. We invited people to join us, and maybe invite people on Zoom with us and have a great conversation, everything like that. So we try to reach a couple of people if they want to join us. It will be interesting. If you have some of your buddies and anything like that, that'd be great. So
Okay.
again, another great show. We go through the 1 hour. It was great to catch catch up with a couple of signature a couple of days. We was off this weekend for other things, but we'll be back during the weeks at least from Monday to Friday online here, and continue to enjoy you guys. And thank you so much for listening to us. Don't forget to subscribe to the Facebook page and on YouTube channel on Under Hockey Nation live show. Michael, great show. Have a great
Thank
Monday.
you. Great job.
Tomorrow morning at 11 Eastern Time, 8 a.m. directly from California. Have an amazing Monday, guys.
Thanks, guys.